up, guys? It's about because you're also our Artistic Vision, the show where we like to go in depth with young artists. So, okay, talk about their art, what they like to talk about, and what they would like to talk about in their art. And today's episode, we have a very special guest, Alexander Araujo. Is that good? Is that pretty bad?
You know, Elmer, it's an honor to be here.
Okay.
Dude. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Really.
No, it's
to be back here in the chair.
Yeah.
With a good friend.
Of course.
Man, that was the quickest I've ever heard it done.
Yeah. Well,
But I think it could be quicker. I'm a bit of a perfectionist.
Hey, what you gonna do?
No, stop. That was perfect. That was
Okay.
perfect. I get it.
We'll
do the rest in AI.
You ever seen those videos? Of, like, you ever seen those videos of like the guy, like the fastest readers, and he just like flips the page and it's like doesn't even finish reading it? That's me.
That's you.
So
Fastest reader.
I'm the fastest reader. But joining me is the fastest biker in Toronto,
I wouldn't say that.
Alexander Araujo. How you doing?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah,
I'm feeling great. Yeah, I did have a nice bike ride here. I like to go fast.
that is true. Your bike's
Here's
actually
my head.
joining
Yeah.
us in the audience tonight.
Woo!
Shout out to the bike. Which is, I think I'm bringing up the bike because I feel like that has kind of been a focus in your life. What you, not only in maybe your art, but in your everyday life. I feel like you breathe biking.
Ever since I was a child, I yearned for the bike.
You yearn for the bike.
Yeah.
That is a Minecraft. I know that one. I know that
Minecraft movie.
Did
you know they made a
every Minecraft?
Did you know they made a game inspired by the movie?
No, we'll just go straight into it.
Yeah.
Who are you, and what kind of art do you usually make?
Okay. Well, we already know that my name's Alexander Araujo, and that I like bikes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a student of OCAD University, but that should be a given since I'm on Artistic Visions. Maybe not.
Not always.
No,
I don't
not
always
always?
have a
Okay.
artist, but yes, that's fair.
But yeah, I'm an advertising student working on their thesis. I've been doing it for a while. It's in the making and almost ready to go. Probably recognize me from my show, Podcast. I mean, our show.
No, I wasn't on it.
You were on it.
I mean, a couple times. I just helped as editor, but yeah.
There was like one episode I never saw that it was like you three or Mark.
Oh yeah.
Lakin and you, and there was like a Lakin cam or something.
Oh yeah, because there was something. Okay, so there was something wrong with the switcher. We couldn't take out Lake, or I think we just had a camera set up, so it was like okay, Lakin cam the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
The Lakin cam in the corner.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Love that.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I did podcasting for a long time. Really active. I like to get active.
Oh yeah.
I like to move.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm a dancer, but I dance.
Yeah, but you like to backflip too.
Sometimes.
Yeah, here and there.
Here and there.
So you're pretty active. You're a pretty jumpy guy. You like
jumpy.
Yeah. You got a little pep in your step. But
that's me.
Yeah, but one of those things that you like to get active obviously is the bike. You like biking.
Yes.
And you know what? Let's just actually start looking at your thesis work. What are we gonna see at GradX for you?
Well, before I tell you what you're gonna see, and maybe I shouldn't even tell you what you're gonna see, so you'd show up, right? But I want to break down like how I got to where I'm at today with my thesis. And it started with a bit of an unfortunate wait list in the workshop class 2 years in a row.
Damn.
But I got the chance to do an independent study with Nick Gosso, a very talented professor I learned a lot from, and he guided me through all of the steps of creating great advertising, or what I hope to create was great advertising.
Yeah.
And really, every single thesis starts from a blank slate of where to pick from, where to choose, where to go. I've always been really interested in e-bikes and cycling, and so I started to look there and what was like the most relevant up-and-coming topics out of that space. I took interest to a lot of different things, but one of them that really caught my eye was that here in Toronto, just like how you might get an Uber Eats order on an e-bike, FedEx has this system where they deliver packages with cargo bikes. So they're a bit longer. They got a trunk in the front, and you put your package in there. And in this very densely populated city, they move around the in-between cars and bike lanes and get you your packages. And they've been doing it since 2020.
Like, and then the pandemic times, right?
Yeah.
Like that's when it started.
That's when it started. And I guess it's been a big thing in Europe for quite a while, and in the UK, but that FedEx brought it to like North America, and they have it in Brazil and other places as well, where they have this system where they can deliver packages in the last mile, which, if you're not familiar with the last mile term, the logistics sort of system operates from your perspective is you order the thing, the seller sends it to a distribution house, then that distribution house sends that to a local pickup spot, and then from that pickup spot, which like for a truck would be Mississauga here in Toronto. From that pickup spot, it would go to your house. They can really considered the last mile as a changing point because it was the area that created the most emissions. That's what is really important to them, to sort of reduce that area. So they tried to bring in cargo bikes to sort of feel out where can they reduce the emissions. And I started with creating a brief, which is like a marketing strategy. And I thought about like, who should we really be talking to? Because if we're gonna change the world with advertising, which is kind of a silly concept, you at least have to be talking to the right people. And I found that talking to businesses specifically instead of the customer would be the most beneficial, because regular people don't really consider like how their package is being delivered, but a business that would want to reduce their emissions would consider an alternative mode of transportation, and that's what it is. It's goofy a little bit. It's new. It's exciting. It's lighter and faster.
Yeah.
It turns out through my research, I found that these cargo bikes are beating a lot of the trucks in places like Europe and here in Toronto with newer studies, because of the congestion. They're getting stuck in traffic. They can't find somewhere to park. If they do find somewhere to park, they get a big ticket because they shouldn't be there, or they're blocking a bike lane. It changes the game when you can deliver something faster. You've essentially created like the most value for a delivery company. It's all based on speed. And if you could do something faster and sustainably, then why not?
Incorporate it into your infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
Like,
why not?
Yeah. Like, because like you say, one of the main things that is like amazing also is just the fact that, because I also do think like if you're gonna talk to the corporate side of things, you got to do it right. And
yes,
because they're like, okay, whatever, this is a thing, an idea, and they shut it down, that's kind of it. But like I think once you start talking about like what their company and how much it can affect the actual impact it has on, not just the streets of Toronto, but the world, or wherever FedEx is, or the company that you're, like on top of the emissions, not emitting so much harmful, chemicals, but also, for them, it's just overall more cost effective, like less gas, like their like repairs aren't really the same in terms of oh, you're gonna repair a truck compared to a cargo bike. So there's a lot, I think, of like bonuses on top of like just not even just the emissions, right, for companies.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten the chance to speak with actual like logistics like coordinators. They really love that, you know, that these bikes like scream green and that you can get things faster in like a big radius in Toronto, which is really important for like affordability and maintenance.
Yeah.
I'd assume you'd repair a cargo bike. At least I repair my bike more than I think you'd repair a car.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like
I don't.
With use.
You're talking like a lot more money. I can't speak for certain. I don't want to say something that is incorrect, you know. But
then I'll cut it.
Oh, great. So I speak without consequence.
No. Yeah. It's all what the show's about.
Understanding what businesses want to hear was the biggest part of my research, and then putting that to a visual idea and like slogan and putting it out there is the part I'm at now, and it does take a lot of thinking and a lot of writing, but it also takes a lot of doing.
Yeah.
Which I wish thesis would go on forever. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, developing a project, you know, it just takes way longer than you would like. Just especially because it gives you a chance to like kind of breathe on that idea and like explore it and go where like the possibilities and like and of paths you can go to. But like, yeah, when there's that moment where you're like, okay, time to present it, and you're like, not a little bit longer, like, but I mean, like, hearing where you're at, because it's like, it sounds like you have a clear-cut idea of what you want to talk about and what you're aiming at, right?
What I like to talk about in my art.
What you'd like to talk about in your art. And, you know, actually, what would you like to talk about in your art when with thesis?
More of what I mentioned, you know.
Yeah.
Delivering that idea as quickly as possible so that if you're riding in your car or your bike, you'll pass by and you'll get that message quickly. But outside of my thesis and the work that I create, like my art, again, reflects, you know, biking culture and all the same stuff. I have an account called Electric Cobra, which I would like to
I mean, you've been you kind of, you know,
I just did it.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, I think there's something on the ground that might be. Yeah, you're gonna show it now or no?
Oh, right, the thing on the ground.
It's like literally on the wide screen.
So, camera 2, check this out. This is a helmet I painted with airbrush and stencils, and then I clear coated the whole thing. So, you know, it's been through mud, rain.
Bro, you're putting it like right next to the mic, so you're probably getting all the crazy.
Mud, rain, snow, sunshine, and it still looks like the day I got it. You know,
still white, pearly white.
Yeah, and the best like compliment I've gotten when I show people this is that they're like, "Oh, I thought you just like bought it like that." You know?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
That makes me happy because it's like, it took a lot of time like to develop the actual technique of painting on, I guess, objects. It started with skateboarding.
Yeah, I mean,
skateboards.
We can go back to our first interview that we had. I think we talked about where you did paint skateboards, you know?
It started with like skateboards and a lot of spray paint.
Yeah.
And now this is at a point where I feel like, you know, if someone asked me for like a helmet or a skateboarder, you know, to paint their, I don't know, their dog, I'd find some non-toxic paint dyes, and I can paint things that are not a canvas, and I do quite enjoy that. I think it makes me a craftsman, a mind craftsman, if you will.
Nice. Bro, collecting that diamond.
That, got to collect that diamond. But it makes me a craftsman rather than, I think, an artist. And I take pride in that. I can be in a place where I see fits. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the idea is gone. We'll move on. I didn't really.
I mean,
yeah. When you fumble, like you click the wrong dialogue option. Yeah. That was the wrong dialogue.
Bro did the ... again.
Yeah, the ...
Anyway, no, I mean, like, yeah, I think I've always like seen, like not even just the helmet or even the bikes that you've, upkept and like, uptuned to make it turn into an e-bike, right? Like you've got some old bikes that you've, cleaned up. And not only that, but, you are someone who helped create the podcast table, many different objects and,
right, yeah.
Like things.
So
I've always seen you be a craftsman for sure, but I think that also with the, the aspect of also being an artist, I think has helped you kind of like understand where you place things on like your canvas, because you're not working with a canvas necessarily, but you are really good at putting the kind of like almost like dissecting an object, like say that the helmet or even the bikes, for example, like you have like an aesthetic, either if you're mean it or not. Like I think the helmet obviously, but your bike I think is one that's more of a personal thing, but you have made it still aesthetic. So I think you've just naturally always had like an eye with, on top of crafting, that you can like try and mesh the best of both worlds,
Yeah, the bikes are like, man, they're such a different feeling. Because they're like a tube, and then they bend in another tube. Yeah. And then
welded together, maybe.
But it's like trying to place a design on a tube that looks right when you look at it is really hard, especially if you want like it to connect to another part, and then these lines need to go everywhere. Even with like the helmet. Yeah. Like the design goes through the holes of the helmet and comes out the other ends to like reach the end, and trying to like fit that and draw in that way is like a mental game, and that I think has all just been practicing of painting on things that are not canvases and that are not flat, but trying to create, depth, but also trying to work with what you're painting. Yeah, I want to paint like an airplane.
Damn. Well, that could be done too. I mean, I think I've actually seen some airplanes been painted, but on top of all what you were saying, you're also working with like different materials half the time. You're not working with the same material. Yeah. Like that helmet is not the same material as a skateboard, or the bike, for example. So I think you've definitely like kind of delved deep into like what materials work for what material, right? So
that has been like a always, I feel like, an improvement in quality that I needed in my work, so it could last. I had this like really brutal interview once. I like asked an e-bike he owned an e-bike company, and I asked him that if I could like paint one of the tanks of, this is a Beachman bike if you guys are wondering, but and I showed him my work, and he was like really like amazed by all the previous work I had done. And I was setting up the contract, and it got to the end, and he was like, "Oh, but like, what are you gonna paint with it?" Just like, "Oh, just like spray paint." And he's like, "Nah, these things like have to last 60 years, So if they give this bike to their kids, the paint will still look good." And that made me like think like, man, like I really have to preserve my work, because it started in skateboarding. It was like always like, if it's gonna get trashed, I don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, half of the skateboard,
not all the skateboards I've made have been destroyed.
Like, that's just like the natural life of a skateboard. Like art is gonna get messed up no matter if you want it to or not, right? So, but with bikes as well, I can see that.
But now I have this like sort of perspective, like these things need to be last, and there's a way to make them last. So let's do that.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the branding that you've kind of worked on. We've talked about how much you've talked with people,
right,
and what you're kind of aiming at in biking. But what specifically can the consumers, the people who order their packages, know that they're getting delivered a bike, delivered package, right?
Yeah. So
there has to be one thing that you worked on that could help.
You're edging edging to the question.
Yeah, no, I'm messing with you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I designed this logo. It's meant to be a universal, like a cargo bike delivery symbol. And so if you got a package delivered by a cargo bike, there would be a way to know, and it would be a stamp that I 3D printed. And I thought it was a nice addition to the campaign I'm working on because it reflects your business as well. It's like, if you're trying to change the sort of logistics system one company at a time, it should be represented to your customers. And that's one way I thought of doing it. So, yeah, the stamp, I thought was a nice addition. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think what I really like about this project is how much it's forward-thinking because, not this isn't like a diss or anything to mail carriers, but it's been done that way for years. That kind of hasn't been changed, and it's just been like, okay, grab the truck, go ride to downtown Toronto, get your tickets, and maybe we'll charge. I don't know if they probably get compensated for the tickets, but
what's funny is that through my research, I learned that delivery services started on bicycles. UPS was two brothers, I believe, on bicycles. And FedEx wasn't. FedEx started with a lot of millions of dollars in the 80s, and
they had funding.
And they had funding, right? They had planes, they had trucks. But it's almost like a de-evolution, but an evolution. And I thought of ideas of that in my thesis, but I sort of went in a different direction. But it's funny that you say that. It's it's always stayed the same, but really. Now it's just almost they're going in reverse, but forward.
Yeah, no.
There's a word for that probably.
I think it's. We're in such a weird time right now. We're really conscious about we have the technology to be conscious about what's happening all around us, not just in Toronto or Canada with a newspaper, but our neighbors, the people across the ocean from us, everywhere. So I think the fact that we were in a place where it has been standard that way, and we're starting to see a switch in electric vehicles, EVs and e-bikes as well, and going more into that direction where they're less of the carbon emission, right? So and it's helping generally the world and also the people in the city that they live in, right?
I'm not too particular about EV cars.
Yeah, I'm just bringing that up because
I know it's sort of the climate we're in.
Yeah,
and but I do think the bikes are really great.
Yeah,
and
fair.
There's a lot of benefits. And it made me think of our good friend Vlad. It just takes a mind with a forward-thinking mind to really put things in motion, and you could do it with art. You can do it with a message.
Yeah.
And you haven't asked me who I look up to and who I'm inspired by, but I'll throw it in there.
No,
Vlad is a person.
Is that you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
His work is very inspiring, and having him on the show too when we were doing podcasts.
Yeah, true.
His episode definitely rang true to me in what he believes in, and I thought as as an aspiration for your career, that's an amazing way to get out there, to think I can change the world with the art I create.
Yeah.
For our climate, for climate action, and that's it's a great way to start your career, and I hope he does a lot of great stuff. He has.
And he has, and honestly, it's hard to get into that world of like, I'm gonna talk about the climate issues. We're kind of in a weird climate where the people denying like a lot of claims, and it's like, how are you seeing this when it literally just snowed in April, by the way, like 2 weeks ago or whatever? It's like, that doesn't happen. But to go into that world with art as well in hand, and like to kind of try and, attempt to change the mind of the people, I think is really important, and to like, really talk about what is important in the world. And, and Vlad is one of those people who has like definitely admitted all his like time to it. And so, and I feel like you have also. Yeah, the algae. But you have also put your own amount of time into this project, right? And you still want to put more time into it.
Man, I live at OCAD, dude. Hey. I mean, everybody around this time lives at OCAD.
Yeah.
But
the rent goes up in OCAD for some reason.
Yeah. I live at OCAD rent-free.
Yeah.
Not rent-free.
Not Speaking of the rent-free OCAD, this is your last year, if I'm correct.
Yes.
What?
We'll be graduating together.
We will be graduating. I'll just be walking convocation. I still have summer courses, but
we'll be there.
We'll be there. Drinking heavy after. Celebrating.
Celebrating.
That's what I meant to say. Now, with all the talk about our lovely school, I've been meaning to ask, how has OCAD helped you with your art in general, but also, your thesis as well?
Well, I want to shout out Nick Gosso, as I did before. He led my thesis project, and also another professor, Tony Kerr. He is, to learn his story, and someone who like I've always begged to have on the podcast, because he is such an interesting guy, and he's taught me a lot, and but he's also asked me not to share any of his stories, even though I practically begged him to come on the show, but he was a really great part of going to OCAD. I guess I should say, like, professors are a really great part of going to OCAD. Here's a picture of me in first year, and here's a picture of me now. Well, just look at me now.
Picture of you now. Yeah, there you go. I'll freeze frame that, so it's just like you.
I've definitely changed a lot. I've grown up. I cut my hair.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's coming back.
Yeah.
Just wait.
But it wasn't as long as it was like last. Like probably the last time you recorded an episode, right? Like I think that's when you maybe just cut it, or when you still.
The last time I recorded an episode,
which was probably
Grad
X.
Yeah, Grad X.
Yeah. I think you still had long hair.
Yeah. And I straightened up my posture. I've learned a lot. I will say I've learned to think critically in different ways, in writing and in drawing and in painting.
Yeah.
And in
and not painting on canvases, painting on others.
Painting on other things, man.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, I agree.
You agree? Good. It was OCAD that gave me a chance to do a podcast, and that really changed how I felt about myself, how I felt like talking about myself, and also like the way I talk. I've gotten to talk to a lot of great people at OCAD. Think of so many good times. On my way here, I saw like a school field trip. All the kids were sort of walking into Grange Park, and I'm assuming they're going to OCAD. We always have
the open house.
Stopping by, and it made me think like at least one person in that like big field trip will look at OCAD and think like, man, I really want to go here, and like I really want to take this if they're young, maybe it's like their interest in a video game. Like, I really want to go here so I could learn how to make a video game. Or one that brought to, like, when I saw that, I thought of, like, when I was a kid and I used to you ever play Kid Pix? Windows 90, like the Windows XP game where it was like you throw the bomb and then everything would clear and then you'd like draw. That like made me want to be like do graphic arts, you know? It's like
true. That was lower effort Photoshop. That was actually not lower effort.
That was our first our first dive into digital art.
Yeah.
You know, and dude, shout out Kid Pix though.
Kid Pix.
I feel like I gotta go back and try to find out how you can get it on the computer. Probably somewhere.
There's got to be like a
I think
EXE
I remember.
file.
Yeah, I remember trying to look up like if you can. Yeah, find.
There has to be. There's no way.
But I don't know. But anyways, maybe I'll just go back to that library in my old school. It's probably still there. The computers. I hope one of those kids that were there thought maybe I should go to OCAD one day, and they were a little Portuguese boy, and they were a bit goofy at times, and they kind of liked bikes, but they had a lot of different interests, and the cycle just continues, you know?
Yeah.
I'm grateful that there's a system so that, you know, the same opportunities that I got in my years of OCAD, that the kids in the future can do it too. And can we get a plug to OCAD University?
Shout out OCAD University.
Ahaha.
The crowd is going wild right now in the studio. Shout out to the one bike.
Okay, yeah, you'll do the applause.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll add it in. I'll add the Eric Andre one. At every single effect.
And then the Discord quack.
Discord quack. I don't know.
You don't know that one?
No.
You gotta look that one.
Oh, bro, I'm off my memes already, bro. I got that Discord quack.
You never been in Discord and it's got like the sound effect board?
Oh.
You gotta click the duck, dude.
I barely do the sound effect board.
This guy acts like he's not a Discord moderator.
I'm not anymore.
Anymore.
I left that Discord. I hated it. Anyways, mod me OCAD for the Discord. Alex, thank you so much for this amazing talk.
Yes.
We really went in depth. There's like so much.
Yes.
Honestly, we didn't touch on.
We could do another hour, dude.
Well, okay, guys. So part two.
Part two coming.
But so where can people find you at GradX?
So I'll be on the 5th floor, but so there's express elevators and there's the ones behind it. I'm gonna be the ones behind it. And I'll be the furthest to the left in the open area, where all the advertisers are. Come see the advertising GradX. Come to GradX.
Yeah.
Check out all the amazing work from my colleagues as well that'll be presenting, like Elmer Bon Enriquez.
I will. I'll be in the real room.
The real room.
Just like.
Because he's real.
Because I'm real like that. But no, I'll be showing a short film. So, I'll be with the rest of the reel.
Is this like the wrap up? Is this... Are we doing like the,
I'm probably just cutting this out.
What? No. What do you mean?
You want me to?
Yeah. No. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
Well, if anything, you can find probably my film at Room 353. So
good.
Go.
That's great.
Alex is really in his podcast moment.
Keep it rolling. We're gonna slow this train down.
So let me. Can you take that one again?
Elmer, before we go.
Yeah. I'm plugging. What was happening?
No. You see, now you're on my show.
Yeah, I'm on. Okay. This is Alex
Elmer,
Vision.
before we go, of course, we don't want you to leave empty-handed.
No.
No. You see, Elmer, you have a very long journey ahead of you. We're gonna sail into uncharted waters.
Okay.
All the places we'll go,
Yeah.
We have a long life ahead of us and a long career ahead of us.
100%.
And I hope it's very fruitful, and I hope you have something to guide you. Something that will take you there.
I don't fucking know.
Anyways, a small token of my appreciation.
Okay.
Sail on, sailor.
Wait, let me see if I can get it here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I wish I could. Wait, hold up.
There you go.
There you go. Look at that.
This is Elmer's.
A sailboat.
Yeah, for you.
Well, it's actually like more of a tugboat, right?
Yeah.
I guess, because there's no sail on it. But thank you, Alex, friend of the show, friend of
Elmer.
Of Elmer. And I will leave you. I wish I could balance this on here. No, I won't be able to. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Artistic Visions. Oh, actually, before I go off, is there anything you'd like to plug, promote?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, Electric. Go see my GradX Electric Cobra. You can find me there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys once again for watching this episode of Artistic Visions. Cannot wait to see you guys very, very soon. Take it easy. I hope you have a great day, week, or
Faster,
weekend.
faster.
Bye.
Okay, bye.